The second season of the PBA League is underway. 8 star-studded teams owned by some of the biggest names in sports and entertainment. Today, Bill O'Neill and the Philadelphia Hitmen, owned by actor-comedian Kevin Hart, take on Lamar Woodley's Pittsburgh Jackrabbits and franchise player Oscar Palermo in a format that features singles, doubles, trios, and 5-on-5 team play. It's an all-or-nothing battle on the road to the Elias Cup Final. The winner advances, the loser goes home, and it starts right now on ESPN. The PBA League is in session. Welcome to Thunderbowl Lanes in Allen Park, Michigan. The Pittsburgh Jackrabbits take on the Philadelphia Hitmen in our quarterfinal matchup of the PBA League. Singles, doubles, trios, and team competition. The winner will advance to face the Silver Lake Atom Splitters in the semifinals. Mike Jakubowski with PBA Hall of Famer Randy Peterson. The third member of our broadcast team is Kimberly Pressler, who is laneside with our 2 managers. Kimberly.
Thanks, Mike. Tim, you've got a lot of coaching experience internationally. You coached the Bahrain team for the World Series bowling a few years ago. How does that apply here today in helping with your team?
Well, I've been in a team environment my whole life, and I've been fortunate enough to do a lot of international coaching in the last couple of years. And I think I've got the right team in place, and we're going to rally the troops. And it's all about one goal, and it's win together. And if we play well, we'll win together.
So is that your prediction? You're going to win today?
We didn't come here to lose.
Well, in order for that prediction to come through, you are going to have to go through the Hitmen and their coach, their manager here, Jason Couch. So, Jason, you have a Hall of Fame career here in the PBA. What is your mindset bowling individually and transferring that into coaching a team?
Well, when I found out that I was going to get a manager position, I was absolutely thrilled because I really like to bond with the guys, and I absolutely picked the best team. I think Timmy's really wrong there, and my guys are young and strong, and we're going to prove to everybody today that Philly is #1.
So that's your prediction then?
Yes, ma'am. We will win and win handily.
Oh, well, then there you have it. I guess we're going to see what happens. Guys, back to you.
A Keystone State Final, and here's the PBA League format. Our franchise players will do battle in a singles game for 1 point, doubles in alternate shot format for 1 point. 3 players will team up in trios for 1 point, and then the 5-player Baker team game for 3 points. 1-ball roll-off if we have a tie. Let's get started with our singles game for 1 point. Franchise player Oscar Palermo for the Pittsburgh Jackrabbits. Strike, and Pittsburgh is on the board.
And a nice way to start the singles competition. Always features the franchise players, although the last time we saw a singles competition, Norm Duke actually pulled himself out of the competition and put in a sub.
Franchise player for the Philadelphia Hitmen, owned by Kevin Hart, 6-time member of Team USA, Bill O'Neill. Ooh, and he rings a 10.
Pretty good pitch here by Bill O'Neill. Just leaving the ringing 10, but ball in the pocket nonetheless. This pair of lanes, the right lane tends to hook a little bit more than the left as you take a look at the roster. O'Neill putting together quite a nice team with Mike Devaney, Ryan Simonelli, Dan McClellan, Josh Blanchard. Josh picked up after he was dropped by the Silver Lake Atom Splitters. But Bill O'Neill also lost Mika Koivuniemi and Chris Loschetter to free agency.
Plenty of team experience for O'Neill. He was a 3-time collegiate bowler of the year at Saginaw Valley State, producing some great names over the years. Now O'Neill for Philadelphia's second frame. And 10-pin stance.
Back-to-back 10 pins for Bill O'Neill. The first one was a ringing 10. This is a flat 10. See him playing just to the right of third arrow.
Two spares on the board for Philadelphia. Back over to franchise player Asku Palermo, 2006 national champion for Finland, a member of Team Finland for the better part of a decade. That ball comes up high, 3-4-7 split.
In a lot of comparisons between Jason Belmonte and Asku Palermo, the two-handed specialists out here on tour. I think the biggest difference is Jason Belmonte's got a lot more tricks. I think he makes better shots. His balance is better at the foul line. I think if Asku were to get into that same category, he needs to really work on kind of toning it down a bit. He's really a freak of nature in terms of an athlete, a very athletic guy, very strong guy. And I think at times he tends to just overthrow and overpower the lanes.
And there's the father of the modern power game. Hall of Famer Mark Roth joins us. His name is on the MVP trophy for the PBA League, which will be awarded after our champion is crowned. Similar ball path, different split, the 3, the 6, the 7, and the 10.
And you can see just how violent the ball comes off the end of the oil pattern. This time right through the face, leaving the 3, 6, 7, 10, and he'll try to get the ball to the right side of the 3-pin and throw it over into the 7 and try to avoid back-to-back open frames.
Pittsburgh Jackrabbits, owned by Lamar Woodley and managed by Tim Mack, Palermo, Larson, Allen, with Ronnie Russell and Eugene McCune. Back-to-back open frames for the Pittsburgh Jackrabbits. Bowling on the 42-foot PBA League lane condition, Randy, tinted blue.
Early on, the players try to go as straight as they can, just left of second arrow, and then as the oil pattern breaks down, they'll migrate to the center part of the lane. The longer the players can stay to the right, the longer the oil pattern will hold up and afford good scores.
We'll keep our eyes on that and watch for transition and ball path. O'Neill buries it in the pocket. And a lead here, early singles match, 1 point in our PBA League quarterfinal. Doubles coming up next.
Three shots for O'Neill, all three in the pocket. That time he finally gets the 10-pin out.
O'Neill, a 4-time winner on the PBA Tour. Heading up the team now as Philadelphia toes the line here. 4th frame in our singles game. Double for Philly and O'Neill.
And just a great shot by Bill O'Neill. In fact, all 4 shots pretty darn good. There's the style, the more conventional type of player. I think Bill O'Neill is one of the few players left on the tour, along with Chris Barnes. It's a little more conventional, not that real high rev guy that still gets it done on the PBA Tour.
So Palermo with a strike on the board and trying to cut into the O'Neill lead here in singles. Struck back in the first and then back-to-back opens. So now Palermo with an opportunity for his first double. The 7, the last of fall double. So Palermo, after back-to-back opens, Randy, recovers with 2 quality shots.
Yeah, much better shots. He was much more balanced on those 2 shots, and obviously the result's much better.
Bill O'Neill and the Philadelphia Hitmen, plus 25 here, entering the 5th frame. O'Neill working on a double. Struck back here in the 3rd. The blue oil, and a 6-pin the last of fall, just a tad high.
Bill O'Neill is locked in, making great shots, and that's 3 in a row. Right over 3rd arrow, nice and direct. Pretty shot there.
And O'Neal continues the string of strikes, and he opens up a lead for Philadelphia in our singles. 1 point on the line. O'Neal and Philadelphia in control, but Osku Palermo is back online. Conclusion of our singles game right after this. The PBA League quarterfinals are brought to you by HotelPlanner.com. The best place to book hotel rooms, best rate, guaranteed. By Geico, saving people money on more than just car insurance. By Jack Link's Beef Jerky, feed your wild side. And by DV8, we are DV8. Tonight we bowl. PBA League quarterfinals continues at Thunderbowl Lanes in Allen Park, Michigan. The Pittsburgh Jackrabbits and the Philadelphia Hitmen. Ebonite, flashback time.
Well, back in 2011, Osku Palermo got some nice breaks en route to winning his first ever major. Here's the clincher right here. What a beautiful shot that was. And what a beautiful picture that is. Then in 2012, the Cheetah Championship, it was all O'Neal rolling the 10. We've already seen a little bit of this already today, but Bill O'Neal was rock solid, and a nice tribute to one of our fallen heroes and PBA players, Tony Reyes.
Neither of these players could be described as overly talkative. At least that's what we thought until we asked Osku about being so quiet, but he assured us that there are times when you simply can't shut him up.
Osku said you can't shut him up? Yeah, I've been around Osku for probably 7 or 8 years, and he says about 1 word a year. So just even off the camera, he's a quiet guy. But he's a guy that's actually fun to be around. We can joke around with him, and he's got a pretty good heart.
Getting to know Palermo too. He's a prankster and impish, if you will. He's got a great sense of humor.
He does. He's a really good guy too. He is quiet. But once you get to know Osku, he's a great guy and very funny.
Trying to jump into that Philly lead. Palermo up in the 6th. Standing drills it back, so now Palermo's lined up after a couple of open frames early here. Singles for 1 point.
There you go. There's that two-handed style and power. And very well balanced again on that shot. The problem is he's dug himself a 35-pin deficit with those back-to-back splits in the 2nd and 3rd frame. I'm not sure O'Neal is going to let up. Beautiful.
Strike for Pittsburgh and Palermo, and the lead is cut to 25 pins here in the 7th frame.
Osku using 2 different balls because the right line hooks more than the left, but there's that delivery. Lots of power, lots of torque. The pins really don't stand a chance when that ball enters the 1-3 pocket.
Both players on 4-baggers now. O'Neal, 7th frame. 10-pin.
And it looked like he got it in. Just a pinch, which makes the ball scoot down the lane just a fraction longer and coming in late, leaving the ringing 10. Watch this. Maybe just a board left the target. You see how it pushes just a little bit longer? That's what creates that ringing 10-pin.
Spare for Bill O'Neal and the Philadelphia Hitmen. 1 point in this singles game. Doubles and trios coming next, a point apiece. Our 5-player team Baker game will carry 3 points. And now O'Neal, with that 10-pin, has given Palermo an opportunity. Still on the string of strikes. O'Neal working now in the 8th frame.
Wow. It's good stuff there. Bill O'Neal's flushed every single ball. He has 5 strikes for 8 frames and 3 10-pins. Remember, I talked about the left lane being a little slicker, and you can see the ball track for O'Neal just slightly right of third arrow, whereas on the left lane, he's just slightly left of third arrow.
Key shot in the match here, 8th frame for Palermo with a couple strikes, can cut the lead to single pins. Palermo catches a break and a strike.
Oh, this is why you put power on a bowling ball, and check out this pin action. I mean, there's stuff flying everywhere.
Messenger comes and takes care of the 10. Now Palermo first to toe the line here in the foundation frame, can cut the lead of Philadelphia to just single pins, 1 point on the line, 9th frame. Just a bit high, 4 pin.
Looked like he got it just a hair right, caught the friction and went high. He really wanted that because that sets up the 10th frame for him, and it would have cut the lead to 4. With a spare here, his max score now 223. Bill O'Neal's already in the high 220s.
Now the advantage shifting back to Philly on the lead, and a chance for O'Neal to increase that lead. 9th frame.
No way.
Oh my, 7-10 split. So Palermo fails to take advantage in the 9th, but now this bad break.
You see that ball just left of third arrow. Terrible break. Bill O'Neal needs to get one. Remember, only 3 7-10s ever made on television.
And the pins jump here, always an opportunity, but open frame for O'Neal, and the lead is down to 3 pins as we enter the 10th.
He needs a double and 8 to shut out Osku.
Perfect shot on the left lane for O'Neal. One more, and then he'll have a chance to shut out Pittsburgh.
Well, if Bill O'Neal does strike out, he'll shoot 226, and it's probably one of the best 226 games you'll ever see. 3 10 pins, a blower 7-10 in the 9th. Everything else strikes. I mean, this game could have been 270 very easily.
Just a tad high, so the door open. Palermo can now perform in the 10th and steal the point.
If you're Bill O'Neal, you got to feel like you've been getting kicked in the gut repeatedly in this game. 2-16 with a spare, and he never missed the pocket. Flushed every ball. Solid 9, pocket 7. And that doesn't matter, missing the 9 pin, because Palermo's still behind in count. Palermo still needs a double. He would have needed a double even if O'Neal covered the 9 pin.
So Pittsburgh and Palermo still in it. 2 strikes in the 10th and some change will steal the point for Pittsburgh. 10th frame. Oh, 10 pin. And Philly hangs on and goes up 1-0. Manager Tim Mack going to the bullpen here.
Hey, you know, that's almost a little poetic justice right there. I mean, as good as Bill O'Neal bowled, I mean, it was a great shot by Palermo, don't get me wrong, but after what happened to O'Neal. Bringing in a sub to throw this fill shot, Eugene McCune.
Open substitutions across. Once the player's in, he stays, but here at the late stages. Just getting a look at the TV pair, and Philadelphia takes the first point. We will return for doubles for another point. PBA League is in session on ESPN. O'Neill gets the job done, takes the first point, first tally on the board. Our doubles is coming next. Welcome back to the PBA League here at Thunderbowl Lanes in Allen Park, Michigan. Philadelphia leading Pittsburgh here 1-0 after Bill O'Neill's win in singles. Well, today's matchup between the Jackrabbits and the Hitmen is the last of the quarterfinals in this year's PBA League. Here's a quick update on what happened in other quarterfinal action and which teams await today's winner in the semifinals. The first quarterfinal matchup was between Chris Paul's LAX and the Brooklyn Styles. Two players of the year, past and present, kick things off in singles. Arch rivals Sean Rash and Jason Belmonte. Belmonte, sporting the Google Glass with the built-in camera, had little problem with his Player of the Year predecessor dispatching Rash 255 to 223 to earn the first point of the match. And though Brooklyn would fight back to win the doubles and trios portion of the competition, it would be the LAX who would move on in the bracket, thanks primarily to key strikes in the 9th and 10th frames of the team event from Belmonte and Parker Bone III. The next quarterfinal featured a rematch between last season's top two teams, Billie Jean King's New York City WTT Kingpins and the team they beat for the 2013 Elias Cup, Jerome Bettis' Motown Muscle. Entering the final game of the match, the Kingpins were down 2-1 to the Muscle, but Motown ran into some bad luck, opening the door for New York. Consecutive strikes from Stuart Williams, Jake Peters, and John Zerbinski. Put the Kingpins up by 47, handing them the 3 points they needed to eliminate the Muscle 4-2 and move on to face the LAX in semifinals. Chris Hardwick's Silver Lake Atom Splitters and Terrell Owens' Dallas Strikers met up in quarterfinal number 3, but the Strikers weren't much of a threat to the Splitters, who are the favorites to win this year's Elias Cup. The Strikers seemed doomed from the start, with Norm Duke replacing himself with Rhino Page in singles after being throttled by Chris Barnes. And the Strikers looked to be the losers in doubles as well. A strike from Brian Smith in the 10th would hand them the day's second defeat.
Strike is a winner, 9's a tie, 8's a loser.
8 is a loser, and this match is even at 1-1. And though the Strikers would end up winning doubles, they were no match for the Atom Splitters and trios. It would seemingly take a miracle for them to beat the Splitters in the day's 5-on-5 team finale. But thanks to this split left by Tommy Jones, the Strikers actually did have a chance to win and eliminate the Splitters. All anchorman Rhino Page had to do was strike out in the 10th frame. Well, how about Freed for the win? 10th frame. Oh, the messenger misses, and Silver Lake advances to the semifinal. So this year's team to beat, the Silver Lake Atom Splitters, dodge a bullet and advance to the semifinals. And they are the team who will take on today's winner, either Pittsburgh or Philadelphia in the semifinals. Stay logged on to PBA.com for all the latest PBA news, tournament results, player updates, fan promotions. Right now, the PBA is teaming with Barbasol to allow fans to post a pose of their own strike celebrations for a chance to win some great prizes from the PBA and Barbasol. Head to PBA.com and click on the Strike a Pose link to learn more. Kimberly Pressler is laneside with Bill O'Neill, who took a point in the singles game. Kimberly.
Thanks, Mike. So, Bill, you just finished up the singles game, but in that 9th frame, you had a pocket 7-10 split. What was going through your mind when you saw that?
You know, it wasn't a great shot. I mean, I probably deserved a flat 10. I don't know about a 7-10, but I knew I was still in the lead, and I knew if I made 2 good shots in the 10th, you know, I'd probably end up winning. And I made 2 good ones, and one didn't strike, but I was fortunate enough that Oscar had the pretty much same fate as me.
Well, we're going to see you next in the trios match. What type of preparation goes into that? Because now you're not just going at it alone, you have 2 other guys along with you.
Yeah, it's still very much an individual game, so I still have to go out and do my own thing, and I know as far as ball reaction-wise, it'll be quite a bit different. There's going to be another match in between, so I'll probably end up using the same ball with a different drilling, and hopefully to carry a little better this round.
All right, thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Guys, back to you.
Thanks, Kimberly. Mike Jakubowski with PBA Hall of Famer and 13-time titleist on the PBA Tour, Randy Peterson. And Bill O'Neill, as speaking with Kimberly there, was in command for most of that. Does that transfer now to the doubles team? Do they have a game plan in mind? Do they follow Bill?
Well, I mean, you always like the good momentum and the good mojo going in to the doubles competition, but quite frankly, that first game shouldn't have been close. Bill O'Neill bowled way better than Osku. Osku got a gift when Bill O'Neill left the pocket 7-10 in the 9th frame and wasn't able to take advantage of it. As far as how that translates into the doubles, hey, you know what? You got a point under your belt. It's a win. You got good momentum. Ride it.
And that doubles game is coming up next. Another point is on the line. Philly up 1-0, and when we return to Thunderbowl Lanes, Ronnie Russell and Eugene McCune for Pittsburgh team up against Dan McClelland and Ryan Simonelli, doubles for a point as the PBA League rolls on in Detroit. PBA League, Pittsburgh Jackrabbits and the Philadelphia Hitmen. Philly up 1-0, time for doubles, alternate shot. And Ronnie Russell will get things started for the Pittsburgh Jackrabbits, managed by Tim Mack. He's 42, 3-time World Amateur Bowler of the Year. 66 international titles on 5 continents as an amateur, member of Team USA back in 2003, and a 2-sport star playing football for Joe Paterno at Penn State.
I've actually worked with Tim Mack before on my game. He gave me some help, about 6 months ago, and Timmy's a great coach, a great bowler, a great bowling mind.
Ronnie Russell steps up for Pittsburgh and shakes the rack for a strike. Pittsburgh on the board.
That lane's a little bit tighter for me, so.
Leading off in this doubles for Philadelphia is Dan McClelland, finalist at the Barbasol PBA Tournament of Champions. Smooth stroke for a strike.
Go, baby.
And here is the format for our alternate shot doubles game, also known as Scotch doubles. The 2 players on each team alternate shots all the way through the game. If player 1 fails to strike, then player 2 shoots the spare. And if player 1 does strike, then player 2 gets a fresh rack on the next shot. Up now, Ryan Simonelli for Philly, a strike apiece here in doubles. Philly up 1-0 in the match. All strikes. Powerful shot from the left side for Simonelli.
One of the most powerful guys on tour with one hand. Ryan Simonelli brings a lot of power and a lot of heat.
Simonelli made it into not 1 but 2 title matches this past season at the World Series of Bowling. The first against Chris Barnes in the PBA Viper Championship. Simonelli seemed to be well in control, but then catastrophe. A 7-10 split in the 10th derailed the Ryan Express, allowing Barnes to come back and take the win. That's enough. Chris Barnes, 16-time titleist. But just 1 week later, Simonelli had another chance going up against top seed Dom Barrett in the PBA Chameleon Championship. And this time, Simonelli would not be denied, putting together a 5-bagger in the last half of the match for a 258, defeating Barrett by 55 pins.
Redemption, baby! Yes! Yes!
Speaking of power and heat, the Rocket Eugene McCune, the back half of Pittsburgh doubles lineup here. First shot at the lanes for Eugene, who got that shot in the singles match off the bench, and a 10-pin for Eugene. So now, as we'll see, Ronnie Russell will pick up the spare.
Eugene's basically got 2 games. Straight and hard, like that shot right there, leaving the flat 10, or he hooks the entire lane.
Ronnie Russell cleans up the spare for Pittsburgh.
Rookie.
Talking about this straight hard shot, Eugene has won back-to-back titles on Cheetah, the shortest pattern. Here we go.
Yeah! Come on! Let's go!
Can I get one?
Now this time he gets the messenger to come across and get the 10-pin. That's a nice thing to see when you're bowling doubles, singles, or anytime you're bowling.
McClelland up for Philly on the first 2 strikes, and he rings the 10-pin.
Wow.
Seen a lot of 10-pins in a game and a half, and that was a pretty good shot by Danny Mack. Ryan Simonelli is used to shooting the 7-pin much more often than the 10-pin.
Spare pickup for Simonelli, hands the baton back to Dan McClelland, who bowled collegiately at Saginaw Valley State, was a member of the Collegiate National Championship team there over the 5-6 season. Dan earning Collegiate Player of the Year honors in 7/8. So Dan familiar with team play, as a lot of the collegiate players are, who are making an impact on the PBA Tour. 4th frame.
Dan McClelland is a solid player out on this tour. We saw him a few weeks ago at the Tournament of Champions, and it's just a matter of time before Dan McClelland wins the singles event out here.
Ronnie Russell bowled collegiately for Vincennes University back in 2002 and 3. First team All-American there.
Well, the right lane is just full of 10-pins. Six spin goes around the 10, and the 10 is still there.
And the Rocket cleans up the 10-pin for the Jackrabbits.
You know, when you're leaving corner pins, when your pin carry is bad, it's just the bowling ball and the way it's entering into the pocket. It's all about entry angle and the ball going through the pins the correct way.
Russell's first singles title out on the PBA Tour came overseas at the Brunswick Euro Challenge, which qualified him for the Tournament of Champions the very next week in his hometown of Indianapolis. 5th frame. Perfect shot. Perfect strike for Pittsburgh.
No 10-pin?
Pop. That lane in the mid lane picks up, so I just got softer with it, and it actually didn't pick up the right way. I think I can go ahead and just move one left and crush on it.
Simonelli up, Randy, a chance to examine where the power is generated from this left-hander.
Generated in his downswing. When his elbow starts to bend and his wrist starts to cup, then it straightens out at the point of release. It's like throwing a yo-yo. When he gets full extension at the bottom, you can see that there's the cup, and then he just snaps it right up the end of his wrist. So the faster he snaps his hand open at release, the more revolutions he puts on it. And that's a great tip for anybody. Dan McClelland does the same thing. Watch the swing, watch the elbow, watch the wrist.
Smooth stroke and nice shot for Philly. And we've got strings of strikes operating. Philly up a point, and action continues in doubles. Russell McCune putting some strikes together, as well as Simonelli and McClelland. More doubles coming from Thunderbowl Lanes. Competition continues. This is the quarterfinal matchup between the Philadelphia Hitmen and the Pittsburgh Jackrabbits. Philly up 1-0. And let's meet the owner of the Hitmen, none other than actor and comedian Kevin Hart. Hart's currently one of the hottest names in entertainment. You see just some of his career highlights there, including starring roles in the movies Ride Along and Grudge Match, as well as About Last Night. Hart has stolen a few scenes on the lanes as well, appearing 2 straight years at the Chris Paul PBA Celebrity All-Star Invitational, where he showed that he's not only funny, but a serious competitor as well. After defeating Chris Paul and Jason Belmonte, as well as Lamar Woodley and Oscar Palermo in the semis, Hart and partner Bill O'Neill nearly won the 2013 event, losing by just 3 pins in the final match to Chris Hardwick and Chris Barnes. Hart's Philadelphia Hitmen currently up 29 pins here as we start the second half of doubles. Philly nearly perfect through the first 6 frames, and up comes Eugene McCune for the Jackrabbits, working on a strike. Doubles rolls on. And Eugene does the trick, mixing strike.
You won't.
You're talking about power before we went to break. Watch this high backswing and the wrist cup and elbow bend. There you go, right there. See how he just collapses that? So once that forms kind of a U shape, at some point at the bottom of the swing it has to straighten out. And the faster he can straighten out his elbow and wrist, the more revolutions you put on the bowling ball. Get a better look at it in slow motion.
Simonelli explodes the rack, and the strikes are flying fast and furious.
Simonelli had a real nice World Series of bowling as well, and he's no stranger to power. Just shredded the last rack.
So Philly with just 1 miss here on a 9 spare, and Pittsburgh with just 2 9 spares. Dan McClelland can extend the string of strikes to 4, 8th frame in our doubles. A point on the line. Trios is next, also for 1 point.
And just a huge advantage when the teams are striking, because you get to stay on the same lane shot after shot.
Let's take a look at the Barbasol close shave of the day.
Well, it happened back in the 3rd frame, and Eugene rolls the messenger.
Come on!
Got him pumped up, too.
Trying to keep pace with Philly, and he does it again.
Woo! Come on!
Was that the Barbasol close shave of the day? Was that a replay? Because it looked just like what we just saw. That was a massive messenger. Watch this. Oh, that was much faster.
Yeah! Woo!
We got a match. 19 pins. You can see that ball just kind of run out of gas when it got to the 1-3 pocket. Just gave a dig to the Philadelphia Hitmen manager, Jason Couch. Down by 20 now, 1 frame to go. Trouble.
Ninth frame now for Philadelphia. Drives it back.
Wow. Just a lot of power with McClelland and Ryan Simonelli from both sides of the lane. They now have a six-bagger. They can finish this off and shoot 279. The best the Jackrabbits can shoot 239. Oh, boy.
Bouncy, bouncy for McClellan.
What?
You're done. You, sir, sit down.
Jason Couch just told McClellan to sit down. Watch this ball bounce. Like he loses it in the downswing. It actually hit the floor before it came out of his hand.
It's a spare that Simonelli is used to seeing. He cleans up the 2-7.
Yeah, that's a good point. The baby split for the left-handers. Dan would like to forget that last shot.
And Couch will give him that opportunity instead of subbing here.
A little better. A little better.
257. And Philly goes up 2 points to none in this PBA League quarterfinal.
Patrick Allen coming in as a sub. Got Trios next. He's got to get a shot or two in.
Allen comes in cold off the bench for Tim Mack and puts a strike on the board. Trios will be next for a point. Our 5-player Baker team game will be worth 3 points. In the event of a tie, there'd be a roll-off. Eugene trying to put a strike on the board here to give PA another crack on the football in the 10th, and that will happen. So PA will get 2 cracks here.
Eugene just changed balls and moved in and tried to hook it a little bit more. Pretty good result as well. Eugene bowled a solid game. He bowled a really solid game. He hit the pocket every shot, threw some messengers around.
So Allen, couple strikes off the bench. Tim Mack using the time to prepare for Trios.
We saw a lot of 10 pins in the first 2 games. When we come back, we're going to talk about the difference between a weak 10 and a ringing 10. Stay with us.
The PBA League quarterfinals are brought to you by Geico. Saving people money on more than just car insurance. By Barbasol. Close Shave America. Close Shave Barbasol. By HotelPlanner.com, the best place to book hotel rooms. Best rooms, best rate, guaranteed. And by Track Bowling. Make the smart move. Welcome back to Thunderbowl Lanes in Allen Park, Michigan. Quarterfinal matchup between Philadelphia and Pittsburgh continues. And Philly now up 2-0 after our singles and doubles. Kimberly Pressler is with the winning Philadelphia doubles team. Kimberly.
Thanks, Mike. That's right. The Philadelphia Hitmen are now up another point because of these 2 right here. They just won their doubles match. Ryan, you guys played very well together. You got 6 strikes in a row. Why is it that you guys do play so well together?
Well, we got a lot of chemistry together. We have a past. We've been friends for a long time, and we feed off each other very well.
Well, you could see that. 6 strikes in a row. You can't be mad at that. Now, you guys are going to head into the trios. Your teammates are. Dan, what kind of advice did you give to them? Because you guys just got off the lanes.
Yeah, I talked to Bill, and, just trying to feed off each other really well. I changed lanes in the middle of the game, so I just told him I made an extra move, so hopefully he takes that into consideration, and hopefully we can come out with another win.
Good. We'll see how they do. Guys, back to you.
Thanks, Kimberly. Mike Jakubowski with Hall of Famer Randy Peterson. Interesting to note. It's really an interesting teaming of 2 similar styles, one from the left and one from the right in that doubles matchup.
Yeah, the similarity being a lot of speed and power, and both players certainly possess that. Check out Dan McClellan here, and that ball going through the pin so hard, and there's certainly no power outage for Ryan Simonelli. All this power proved to be too much for their competitors. These guys struck a lot.
And very interesting as the discussion about the blue oil continues. It's really an interesting tool, both for conversation and for the ability to analyze the action in a completely new way.
Makes my job a lot easier. And it's great for the viewers. You can actually see the balls tracking through the oil and where the area of play is. So on the left, it was before practice. You could see no bowling balls going down the lane. But on the right, as the blue starts to lighten up, right around that third arrow on the right, you can see the ball track area. On the left, Simonelli has made just one little line just to the inside of second arrow on the left. The reason why that side is not showing the wear that the right is, not enough shots have gone down the left side of the lane, and the left side of the lane is smoother. You're not going to see the track disappear on the left like you would on the right.
Every bowler, Randy, in the world is plagued by 10 pins and 7 pins on the left side. How about track tech talk, and let's talk 10 pins.
But, and you know, the oil pattern plays a big role in that. As you see, that's a flat 10, where the 6 pin goes to the sidewall and lays in the channel. And this is just the same thing here. That 6 pin, it doesn't quite have enough power to get that 10 out. Now this is a ringing 10. You see the power of that 6 pin going up and around the 10 pin. Take another look at it. 6 pin second to your right. You can see that vicious motion as it swings around the 10. The reason for leaving the weak 10 and the ringing 10 are completely different. The flat 10 is the ball entering the pins too softly. The ball maybe runs out of energy right before it gets to the pocket. It's coming in at the wrong angle. But the point is there's just not enough power to drive that 6 into the 10. A ringing 10 is exactly the opposite. Too much entry angle, too much power stored, and that bowling ball breaking too sharply into the pocket will result in a 10 pin. But what I want the viewers at home to understand is watch your pin carry, watch what the pins are doing, because they're telling you something. If you're leaving a lot of 10 pins and you're right-handed, you're not using the right bowling ball, and you're not lined up properly.
Thanks for that track tech talk. And when we return to Thunderbowl Lanes, we will move on with our trios. And Philly maintains a 2-point lead. 1 point coming up next in trios. PBA League rolls on. Pittsburgh Jackrabbits, Philadelphia Hitmen at Thunderbowl Lanes in Allen Park, Michigan, Philly, with a 2-0 lead as we enter the trios portion of our competition. Also good for 1 point. Our team game is a 3-point game. All the teams representative of the PBA League as we get into our trios action. O'Neill, Josh Blanchard, Mike Devaney. O'Neill will open and close. 1st and 10th. Here we go. And the 4 and the 6 fall. Big break early for Philly.
Nice break for Bill O'Neill there. He didn't get too many breaks in the singles match, but he gets one right here. Take a look at the pin action. The big 4 standing for a second, 4-6 falling late.
Oscar Palermo leading off in trios here for Pittsburgh, down 0-2. Powerful strike for Palermo.
That is so much power going through the pins.
Oscar leading off. He'll bowl the 1st and 10th. Martin Larson will get frames 2, 5, and 8. Ronnie Russell gets frames 3, 6, and 9. And different from our Scotch doubles is each player will finish their own frame.
Take a look at this style. Martin Larson, another foreign player from Europe bowling on our tour.
And the Swede drops a rack. Larson winning a gold medal in doubles at the 2006 World Championships. Looking profile.
Good looking game. Great hand at the bottom. He keeps that hand nice and open on the inside part of the bowling ball. From Gothenburg, Sweden. There's another PBA champion from Gothenburg, Sweden. His name was Mats Carlson.
Josh Blanchard, strike on the board, double apiece for Philly. and Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh will need to rally back from 0-2 if they would wish to continue in the PBA League. The winner here advances to our semifinal round. Now Mike Devaney, first shot for Philadelphia.
Like a splat. Like a splat.
Opening turkey for Philadelphia. Trios is 3 bowlers per team. Player 1 bowls frame 1, player 2 bowls frame 2, player 3 bowls frame 3, and rotate through the order with the leadoff player finishing the 10th frame. Ronnie Russell up for Pittsburgh. Trying to even things up with another strike, 3rd frame. Turkey apiece.
There we go. Both teams perfect through 3 frames. Again, the high backswing of Ronnie Russell. Look at how vertical that swing gets. Ronnie Russell, pretty good athlete as well.
Rotating through the order back to the top of the trios lineup for Pittsburgh. Lerma strikes.
When he can stay balanced at the foul line, he makes really good shots.
That is another lead change. Another 3-5-10. Hitmen up, 4th frame.
Bill O'Neill, franchise player for these Philadelphia Hitmen, owned by Kevin Hart, managed by PBA Hall of Famer Jason Couch. All strikes.
The old pattern's broken down enough now to where we haven't seen a 10-pin yet, so the entry angle has changed. The players have moved a little deeper towards the middle part of the lane, and that's the subtle differences in our sport. Remember that in his singles match, Bill O'Neill was just slightly inside of the 3rd arrow, and that was a good 3 that was playing. A shot there by Josh Blanchard. Carrying the wall shot. Nothing but strikes here in the trios competition. Hit them thin and watch them spin. That's some good pin action. Watch him open his hand at the top of the backswing. Watch this. See that? First miss. Actually, when he pushes the ball away, you can see that thumb kind of rotate to the outside part of the ball, and he leaves that hand on the inside part of the ball through the whole swing. You got to be careful with this spare because of the back pin, the 8-pin. You throw a hook ball at it and cover both pins with the ball. Kind of like that.
Start back up, Ronnie.
The 2 and the sleeper 8.
Might be the only spare they leave this game.
Oh. Russell back up. Something happened on the approach, but it doesn't affect the outcome. Halfway through trios here at Thunderbowl Lanes, the Jackrabbits trying to mount a charge here against the Hitmen. More PBA League action after the break. PBA League quarterfinals roll on. Philadelphia Hitmen up 2-0 in a 12-pin lead here with 5 strikes in a row in our trios game. Team competition is coming up, and Kimberly Pressler is laneside with this update. Kimberly.
Thanks, Mike. I'm actually sitting on the bench with Patrick Allen, who is icing his knee. Why don't you tell us what's wrong, and do you think you're going to be able to continue?
Well, I should be able to continue. It just gets really inflamed. 50 games is a lot for me to bowl in a week. I got to make the top 24, but I just wasn't going to be able to make it, so I got to make it the most today. Rooting my guys on and just trying to ice it before we got to bowl the next match.
How long have you been dealing with this knee injury?
2009. It's been a long time.
What from?
Probably bad form, too much driving in the car too, and I just haven't got it right.
Well, let's hope the pain goes away so you can get up there and help with your team.
Randy, nursing injuries is something that every player deals with at one point.
Well, Mike, I've had 3 knee surgeries, and I was talking with Patrick Allen just a couple of days ago. I had my last knee surgery about 2 years ago, still had some knee pain, and then went to see another physician at home, and we started the PRP injections, which is the platelet-rich plasma. And after my second injection, I've been pain-free ever since. That was over a year ago. So I relayed that information to Patrick Allen, and I think Patrick Allen's going to look into it.
Mike Devaney up for Philadelphia on the string, and Randy, there's one of those flat 10 pins we talked about earlier.
Yeah, and that's when the ball just kind of lays in the oil a little bit too long, so when it comes off the end of the pattern, it just doesn't have enough strength or enough pop to drive through the pins hard enough.
Mike Devaney owns 2 PBA Tour titles, and in fact, Devaney captured the most recent of those 2 titles right here at Thunderbowl Lanes back in the 2009 Scorpion Championship, where he defeated Jason Belmonte. Spare conversion for Devaney.
Just looking out for those pebbles.
2-time PBA Tour titleist.
Oh, sorry, buddy.
And what we're competing for, that is the Elias Cup, currently held by the New York City WTT Kingpins. The Elias Cup named for the founder of the PBA, Eddie Elias, who formed the Professional Bowlers Association with charter members back in 1958. And the tradition lives on in this PBA league. O'Neill for the Hitmen, back in the pocket, and 10 back.
How was that, Mac? All right? I moved. I went high the last time, so I moved. I'll teach you. Don't worry. Settle down, son. Well, he's railing me. I can't have it. Shut your mouth, too.
A little back and forth between the teams. City of brotherly love. Palermo with a strike, and Pittsburgh trying to avoid the first 0-3 deficit of this PBA League quarterfinals.
I'll tell you what, after those 2 splits that Osku threw in that first match against Bill O'Neill, he's been pretty solid ever since.
Martin Larson up for Pittsburgh, and he drives a strike back. So we've got a lead change. For the first time in trios, Pittsburgh has picked up the lead. If they fall 0-3, they would need to win the team to force a sudden death roll-off.
Great shot here by Martin. Look at him feed that ball to the right, and he likes it. His teammates like it.
Drops a strike, the Collegiate Player of the Year back in 2007-8.
Please hook.
And another lead change.
Like, oh, I had a chance, and I'm like, oh my God. I thought it was good, and then he didn't want to hook.
Josh Blanchard bowling for Wichita State as a collegiate All-American. Handing over to Devaney now in the foundation frame. Philadelphia can increase their lead. And Devaney drops the rack in the 9th.
Well, the Jackrabbits need to get up here and strike in the 9th frame so they can finish this match with 278 if they go off the sheet.
I was going to go higher, I was going to go flush. I threw it right. Mountain of oil in the lane.
Big shot here.
Come on, man.
3-6, 7-10 split.
Moved.
On the hooking lane, Ronnie Russell goes high, and their chances of winning this game now very slim. He's going to have to try to slide the 3 into the 7, and the ball will take out the 6 and the 10. Bad time for this to happen. Great shot.
Great shot keeping Pittsburgh in as they try to avoid going down 0-3. Let's get another look at that hammer, tough, spare replay on the conversion of the split.
Well, this is just how you draw it up. Watch the 3-pin go and get the 7. The ball takes care of the rest.
Palermo can fill it up for 254. 10th frame, 4-pin, and a 9.5.
Well, this is something you don't see every day. The 9-pin was going down. In fact, it just fell down because it was actually moved off spot where the machine couldn't actually pick it up and set it back down to where it was. You could see how far over it gets moved. It's now almost in between where it's supposed to be and where the 10-pin sits.
And the pin spotter drops it back on spot. And open frame for Pittsburgh for 231.
Sorry, Mike. They're going to go down 0-3 now. So their only chance would be to win the team portion and then win the roll-off. Otherwise, they'll be eliminated from competition. They're going to have to do that with one of their players nursing a pretty bad knee.
O'Neal finishing up in the anchor slot for Philadelphia. First 3-0 advantage of this PBA League quarterfinals. And both managers thinking ahead to how they'll position their 5-player across the Baker team game coming up. A lot of potential anchor players on that bench, Randy, coming up in team.
There really is. I mean, you could put Simonelli there, who I think probably has a shot that'll hold up better than anybody else's on the team. Remember, each player only bowling 2 frames, with your anchor bowler bowling the 10th. You have Simonelli, you have Dan McClellan that can get it done, you have Bill O'Neal that can get it done.
Philadelphia 3-0 over Pittsburgh in this PBA League quarterfinal. And the Hitmen firmly in control. Pittsburgh will need to win team and force a roll-off. Team action for 3 points coming next in the PBA League. Welcome back to Thunderbowl Lanes in Allen Park, Michigan. PBA League continues with our 3-point team game coming next. Pittsburgh must have it and the roll-off to advance in our PBA League bracket. LAX and New York City WTT Kingpins, the defending Elias Cup champions, already there with Silver Lake. And the final semifinal slot awaits. Will it be Pittsburgh or Philadelphia? Will they close out the Jackrabbits? Time now for the Geico Championship recap with Randy Peterson.
Thank you, Mike. In our opening singles match, Bill O'Neal taking on Osku Palermo. Osku got off to a bad start, splitting in the 2nd and the 3rd frame. Bill O'Neal was in complete control until this shot right here in the 9th. Pocket 7-10. Osku steps up in the 10th frame. He has a chance to win. Needs a strike, gets 9. The point goes to O'Neal and the Hitmen. Then in our doubles competition, Ryan Simonelli, Dan McClellan taking on Ronnie Russell, Eugene McCune. These two really flexed their muscles in this match, showing all that speed and power. Proved to be no match for the Jackrabbits. They started with a double, then 9 spare in the 3rd, and then 6 consecutive strikes. Here's the last one by Dan McClellan. The Hitmen win 257-239. And then it was time for trios. Again, Ronnie Russell, Osku Palermo, Martin Larson taking on O'Neal, Blanchard, and Devaney. A split there for Russell in the 9th. Another in the 10th. Look at that. The 9-pin gets moved all the way over. Back-to-back splits for the Jackrabbits. It was time for O'Neal Blanchard and Devaney to do their thing. This match was really close up until that 9th frame. Here's Devaney throwing the last strike here in the 9th. Good stuff. They take home another point for the Hitmen, 256 to 231.
Kimberly is laneside with both of our managers. Kimberly.
Thanks, Mike. Jason, at the top of the show, you actually said, you predicted that your team would pretty handily beat the Jackrabbits. At this point, you are. So what's it like on the bench, and do you think you guys are going to pull it through and just sweep them?
Well, that's the plan, and, you know, I feel so good about my team because I drafted all the guys, and I'm so confident I'll put them anywhere on the position of the team, and I think they're going to run these guys over again this match and be an early day for me.
Well, Tim, you guys are now forced to win this team's match in order to force a roll-off, and then you got to win that. You got a long road ahead of you. Do you think you guys can do it?
Oh, no doubt. That's why it's going to hurt a little bit more when we win this team game, because they've won the first 3 matches. But the most important game is the team game. So I feel our guys are going to rally. We've bowled well, but you got to take your hat off to them. They've bowled awfully well, too. Their scores have been very high. So we just got to put one good game together, and then it's just one shot. And I like my team's chances still. Our morale's high, and we look like we're going to give a fighting chance here.
Excellent. We'll see how it goes. Guys, back to you.
Thanks, Kimberly. Tim Mack brimming with confidence there. But Jason Couch is a formidable competitor who knows how to win. Couch, a Hall of Famer, and the only man to ever take back-to-back-to-back title wins in the PBA Tournament of Champions. The first came 15 years ago in 1999 when Couch defeated Chris Barnes in the title match. He then came back the next year to defeat Ryan Schaefer for the TOC title number 2. And then incredibly would meet up and defeat Schaefer again in the next edition to complete his Tournament of Champions hat trick. And now Couch is here as a manager in the PBA League, guiding his team to a possible sweep here today in the quarterfinals. Randy, it seems to me Jason Couch has a little more flexibility with his lineup coming up for team to move on.
Well, I mean, I don't know if I would call it flexibility. He's got great players on his team. I mean, you go up and down the roster. I mean, Simonelli, McClellan, Bill O'Neill. He's got great players, and, you know, they seem to be lined up to the old pattern. They're striking almost every ball, and it's just been a couple of miscues here and there that's been the difference for the Jackrabbits.
And for the Jackrabbits, Randy, they're dealing with a bad leg for Patrick Allen. You're the manager. If you were to bury someone in a Baker lineup, where would it be? Well,
I don't think Patrick's knee is going to bother him enough to where he's not going to be able to make good shots. But if you wanted to put him somewhere to kind of make it a little bit safer for the team, I would think you would put him in the 2 or the 3 spot.
2 or 3 slot. We'll see where the team lineups fall. Pittsburgh must win to advance, and the oil, always a topic of conversation, Randy, as we move deeper into this competition, and now we can see it with the blue oil.
Yeah, the oil is going to keep breaking down, and we're going to talk about just the right lane. You can see all those little marks there where the bowling balls are laying down at the foul line. Look at how much lighter it is in the middle part of the lane. Take a look at the second arrow on the right, the second arrow on the left. You can see there's a lot more blue just to the inside of that. But now look at the third arrow on the right. You can see how that oil starts to lighten up. That's where all the traffic is on the right side. There hasn't been a lot of traffic on the left side. That blue oil going away. The players are going to keep migrating in.
Pittsburgh back against the wall. They must win the team game to force the roll-off. And that 3-point Team Baker game is next. Welcome back to Thunderbowl Lanes in Allen Park, Michigan. The PBA League rolls on, and the Pittsburgh Jackrabbits, with their backs against the wall, down 0-3 to the Philadelphia Hitmen. Let's meet the owner of the Jackrabbits, former Pittsburgh Steelers linebacker Lamar Woodley. The one-time Michigan Wolverine was the 2006 Lombardi Award winner for Best Lineman and was drafted the next year by the Steelers, where he had a great run, winning a Super Bowl ring in 2009 against the Arizona Cardinals. And Woodley, no slouch on the lanes either. Like Kevin Hart, he's a 2-time participant in the Chris Paul PBA All-Star Celebrity Invitational. Most recently, 2013, where he partnered with Oscar Palermo. As you'd expect from an NFL linebacker, Woodley is a physical guy, whether it's offering encouragement to former teammate Norm Duke.
He might have just shattered something.
I think he just broke his hip.
We're going to need an MRI. Stat.
Or reminding opponent Chris Hardwick about proper etiquette on the lanes.
I deserve it. I deserve that.
And our two owners in today's quarterfinal match, the subject of our Columbia 300 Fun Fact. Lamar Woodley at 6 foot 2 inches and 265 pounds is a foot taller and more than 100 pounds heavier than the Philadelphia Hitmen's Kevin Hart. It's kind of like Norm Duke and Wes Malott if you lined them up.
Pretty good analogy there.
Five-player Team Baker game for 3 points. Devaney gets Philly on the board with a strike.
All right, boys. One at a time, guys. One at a time.
The players will switch lanes after 5 frames.
Patrick Allen drops a strike for Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh must capture these 3 points to force a roll-off. Now let's take a look at the lineup. 5 across for the Pittsburgh Jackrabbits. Patrick Allen leads off. Martin Larson second and 7th. McCune, the man in the middle. Ronnie Russell will handle the foundation frame. And Oscar Palermo, the 5th and anchor player in the 10th frame. Josh Blanchard up for Philly. Four-pin high.
It's right here.
I think that's a little better result than what he thought he was going to get. That ball looked like it was a little bit farther left than he wanted it. It just kind of laid there in that oil that's still in the middle part of the lane. Think of all the players, Josh is the one that's going probably the straightest.
Josh, the 2012 PBA Rookie of the Year, a couple of television appearances in 2013, including the World Series of Bowling and the Summer Swing in Milwaukee. And a spare for Philly.
Remember, the only chance the Jackrabbits have of advancing in this tournament is by winning this game, this team game, and then winning a roll-off.
Martin Larson up for Pittsburgh. And he shakes the rack out, so double. And doing what needs to be done.
How did that come back? Well, he didn't like that shot. It was just a bit outside, but good fortune brought it back, and then the nice carry. The Jackrabbits get off to an early lead. Check this out. This is inside 4th arrow out to about the 5th board, and just enough on it to get back to the 1-3 and tickle the rack.
Dan McClelland up for Philly. And another messenger. Danny can throw him around, can he?
Yeah. We've seen a few messengers. Remember Eugene McCune? He threw some nice ones. He rolled one and then had a real fast one like Danny Mac just did. It's always nice when the messenger arrives at the correct address. See, that one's really fast. I think Danny Max may have been a little faster than that one.
Eugene now in action. 3rd frame. Pittsburgh trying to triple. And
there we go.
No messenger needed there.
He's going with the high hard one. He's not hooking it. Remember what I said about Josh Blanchard going the straightest? Check that. It would be Eugene McCune.
Here's a look at the Baker lineup for the Philadelphia Hitmen. Devaney leads off. Blanchard, McClelland. Ryan Simonelli will bowl the foundation, and anchor player O'Neill fills the 5th and 10th.
Perfect. Let's go, guys. Come on.
Ryan Simonelli has not missed yet today.
Pure stroke for the lefty from Cheektowaga. Pittsburgh's perfect. Trying to force a roll-off here in the PBA League. Ronnie Russell for a frame right and shakes out the 4-5 in the 7th. Russell and Hitmen franchise player Bill O'Neill have squared off here before at Thunderbowl Lanes in the title match of the 2009 PBA Chameleon Open. Russell was the #1 seed that day, but would make some costly mistakes against O'Neill, who, like Russell, was in search of his first PBA title. And though Russell rebounded in the 9th and 10th, the title would ultimately belong to O'Neill. The victory especially sweet for O'Neill, who had appeared 11 times in televised stepladder finals prior to winning this first PBA title.
Told you guys at home I'd get one. I told you.
Baker format tried sometime. 5 bowlers per team. You line them up. 1 and 6, 2 and 7, and so on. We'll bowl the first 5 frames on one lane and then switch in between, and you combine for 1 10-frame score. O'Neill now for Philly, 5th frame. Splits the 8 and the 9.
And it's a 10-pin match. The Jackrabbits haven't missed yet. And the Hitmen, well, they're starting to string strikes now.
Anchor player Oscar Palermo. His team has supplied him with a 4-bagger. And 4-9 split.
Back-to-back 4-9 splits for Oscar Palermo on the left lane.
Pittsburgh with an open frame, and so as we head to break, it's do or die time for the Pittsburgh Jackrabbits. Can they finally get a win against the powerful Philadelphia Hitmen and force a roll-off? We'll find out next when PBA League quarterfinal action continues. PBA League quarterfinals are brought to you by Barbasol, Close Shave America, Close Shave Barbasol. By the USBC, the national governing body servicing the needs of bowling. To learn more, visit us on bowl.com. By Geico, saving people money on more than just car insurance. And by Brunswick. Find your next ball at bowlwithbrunswick.com. PBA League quarterfinals roll on. Philly is clean with a turkey working and picked up the lead on the bench after the Oscar Palermo 4-9 split. And Patrick Allen with his last crack to help the team.
That's what you do. What you do.
Using the full length of the approach.
Thank God they're walls. Thank God they're China, brother.
And Patrick's wearing a back brace as well. I mean, he's got a bad knee, bad back. This guy needs an overhaul.
And Allen picking up Palermo there with a strike in the 6th. He's done. The teammates will need to take it home, but Philly given the lead on the bench, and now an opportunity to extend it as Mike Devaney loads up for Philly here, 6th frame.
That's interesting. The 4-pin moves over and tries to get in between the 2 and the 8. The machine can't pick it up because it's off spot, but here's the thing. You don't move the pin back to its original spot. You leave it where it is. Devaney will have to shoot the spare as is, but quite honestly, I think it's easier now.
You know, I've seen double wood, but I've never seen triple wood.
Yeah, well, you're looking at it.
Interesting spare conversion. But a spare nonetheless. And the pin count makes it now a 1-pin advantage for Philly, up 3-0, trying to close out Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh trying to force a sudden death roll-off to advance to the semifinals in the PBA League. Martin Larson up on a strike, and they can take the lead back here. 7th frame.
Yes, baby.
Larson delivers. And a lead change. Pittsburgh fighting to stay alive in the PBA League.
Yeah, they really are, and they've taken a 9-pin lead with a strike there. They started 4-bagger, Osku's pocket 4-9, and then another double behind it. The trick is when you switch lanes, the team has to get it lined up immediately.
Yeah! Blanchard drills the rack in the 7th.
Good shot there by Josh. You're going to hear something if Eugene McCune strikes on this ball. I promise.
Eugene McCune, 3-time PBA Tour titleist with 18 career PBA regionals, now up in the 8th for Pittsburgh, trying to stay alive.
Hook back, hook back. Oh, my God.
Half a loaf, bucket, plus the 7.
Wow.
Well, he got it right at target, and at that speed, it had no chance of getting back. About the worst time you could leave 5-count bucket.
Oh, no.
And he missed it.
That's horrible.
It's a tough frame for McCune.
This could be the end of their tournament. I mean, the most inopportune times to get half and then to miss the spare behind it. If he would have made the spare, they would have still had a small lead. Now you got Dan McClellan up on the left lane. Dan McClellan hasn't missed the pocket but once today.
Yeah, baby! Come on, guys, let's go!
Pure stroke, Randy, and a big turnaround here in the 8th frame.
The Jackrabbits went from being 9 pins ahead to trailing by, trying to get the score update.
Baby.
Hang on.
Come on, guys, let's go!
They went from up by 9 to trailing by 20 in 1 frame.
Pittsburgh can still put up 227, and Russell puts a box, fills it with an X in the foundation frame over to Simonelli. Philly is clean here in the team game. A turkey now double working. 9th frame. Perfect shot. Boy, he just has not missed, as you mentioned, Randy.
Perfect today. Every shot Ryan Simonelli has thrown has been a strike. I'm not sure I wouldn't have put Ryan Simonelli in the anchor position just because how good he's bowling and the left side of the lane not breaking down.
And speaking of anchor bowlers, here's Osku Palermo for Pittsburgh. Left the 4-9 split in his last 2 strike attempts on the left lane. Let's see if the right side is any kinder.
He needs to strike out to force Bill O'Neill to mark. But honestly, the chances really disappeared in the 8th frame. Eugene got up. He was working on a double. He could have increased their lead to 19. He was jacked up. He missed target right, and it was an open frame.
Oscar doubles in the 10th. Field ball now for 227. And O'Neill will step up with an opportunity to advance Philly into our semifinal round of the PBA League. .225.
That's perfect.
Spilling. Well, that's enough to force Bill O'Neill to mark. Remember, crazier things have happened. Bill O'Neill did leave a pocket 7-10 in his singles match against Osku in the 9th frame that gave them a chance. I don't see Bill O'Neill doing anything but striking on this ball. Almost another pocket 7-10. Right now, Bill O'Neill just needs to convert a 10-pin. If he misses this, they'll lose by 1. A spare here to advance to the semifinals.
And the Philadelphia Hitmen have swept the Pittsburgh Jackrabbits, advancing to the semifinals of the PBA League. Will face the Silver Lake Atom Splitters in the semis.
Take another look at that first shot, just inside 4th arrow, and 7-pin wasn't knocked out that hard, was it?
Well done. Good job, boys.
A 7-10 split would have cost Philly the game and forced a roll-off, but even without it, Pittsburgh had their chance. Eugene McCune's disastrous 8th frame really cost them. And so the Philadelphia Hitmen sweep the Pittsburgh Jackrabbits and advance into the PBA League semifinals, where they will meet the Silver Lake Atom Splitters. Prior to that matchup, semifinal number 1, which will feature the LAX taking on the defending Elias Cup champions, Billie Jean King's New York City WTT Kingpin. Let's go to Randy Peterson now, laneside with the Pittsburgh Jackrabbits.
Thanks, Mike. With me, Martin Larson, team manager Tim Mack. Martin, I'll start with you. You have a lot of team experience in your background overseas and in Europe.
Sure, I grew up bowling a team in my home country, Sweden, and I've been bowling the Weber Cup twice, never lost, and I got a World Championship gold medal on the team, so yeah, I really like it. I hope we'll continue to do this over here.
So you brought a lot of really good mojo back to the Jackrabbits. You were with them last season. What do you think the big difference was in this match?
It just seemed we can't get it really going. Like, they catching the good breaks maybe, and we can't really. We were really close. They did it really good. Small things that makes it happen.
How much fun was this for you?
It's a great time. I'll just hope we continue doing this.
Thanks, Martin, for your time. Appreciate it. Tim Mack, you know, we talked a little bit about how great the other team bowled. It wasn't so much that you guys didn't bowl that well, but I mean, they were just on fire, and every time you mounted a charge, they just ran over you. What did you see out there?
No doubt, you got to take your hat off to Jason Couch and the Philadelphia Hitmen. They performed fantastic. You know, almost bowled 250 every game, or had a chance to. They never let us breathe, and we were really close. Every match came down to the 10th frame. And in these matches, these single-game matches, it's one shot here and there makes such a huge difference. And we just came up a little bit short in each match. But right down to the 10th frame again in the team match, and we almost had a chance to pull it out. But proud of my guys, proud to be part of the PBA League. It's a fantastic team concept. I think it's great for bowling, and I hope the fans out there support the whole league and support the PBA in general. It's just great to be part of it.
What would you have done differently?
Probably now. I mean, Patrick Allen was injured. You know, he was really struggling, but he had a great ball reaction. I would have liked to throw him in a match earlier, but we didn't want to have the opportunity. If he got hurt, then we lose the team event, and the team event was the big event because it's the Baker match is the 3 points. So I would have liked to, if I had to do it all over again, I probably would have thrown him in an earlier match in the doubles or trios just because of his ball reaction, and it's Patrick Allen.
I know that the loss hurts, but how much does it hurt to lose to Jason Couch in his prediction?
Well, I mean, yeah, Jason's a great buddy of mine, but when we're down here, I want to win, and I know he wants to win. But, you know, he did go out and call it, but like I said, we gave it everything we had, and I bowled this team again, and you know, you can throw the dice up in the air, and you might have a different outcome. So it's a quick sprint, and we gave it the best. And just thanks everybody for the PBA for letting us be part of the PBA League.
Tim, thanks very much.
Thank you.
Tim Mack would no doubt like to hit rewind and try again, but it's hard to argue with these numbers. Philadelphia blanking the Jackrabbits in today's competition. Let's go to Kimberly Pressler.
I'm lane side with the winners here. Jason Couch, you said your team was going to win, and you did in a big way. How proud of this team are you right now?
I couldn't be happier. I really didn't expect a sweep, but I'm glad that they did because I put our reputation on the line by saying that we were going to crush those guys.
Yes, you did, but you guys backed it up, so good job for you. Now, you guys move on to the semifinals, and you're going up against the Atom Splitters in a few weeks here. Are you going to keep the same lineup? Are you going to change the strategy? What's the plan?
I'll see how comfortable my guys are, but this supposed dream team, I don't think we're real scared right now.
All right, now let's talk to the franchise player, Bill O'Neill. I mean, you played a big part in today. You got a point in the singles, you played in the trios, got a point there, and you helped out with the team as well. Do you guys think you can carry this momentum to take on the Atom Splitters and win?
Oh, yeah, 100%. I mean, I know for me, I know I can keep it going because I know the guys behind me are going to do a lot of striking.
All right, well, congratulations. You guys move on to the semifinals.
Next Sunday at 5 Eastern on ESPN, PBA League semifinal action begins as Chris Paul's LAX will take on the defending Elias Cup champions, Billie Jean King's New York City WTT Kingpins. That's next Sunday at 5 Eastern. The pursuit of the second Elias Cup has now reached the semifinal stage. And the Philadelphia Hitmen, with the first sweep in quarterfinal action, have defeated the Pittsburgh Jackrabbits. For Randy Peterson and Kimberly Pressler, this is Mike Jakubowski. PBA League semifinals next time around. We'll see you back in Allen Park, Michigan at Thunderbowl Lanes.
Good job, boys.